What does it take to break the of addictive behaviour? You know, those things where people are so caught up. Maybe it's gambling, which is the one I'm going to address now, and maybe it's food, chocolate, maybe it's cigarettes or alcohol or whatever it is. And I was just thinking of a client today who had a gambling addiction, and we worked pretty intensely to just cut this addiction out of his life. It was pretty intense. I mean, he was gambling something like $1,500 a week. That's a chunk of money. That's a salary for many people. And so this was having an impact on family life and the comfort in which the family could live. As I said, it's a chunk of change. So we had an initial chat. This is usually the process. So I just want to share with you something more about this, because not all change is instant. Some is, where people can instantly respond to some really deep and profound hypnotic suggestions. Some things we have to work together to create the change, because I want it to be permanent, and so does the client. You don't want to do half a job. Anyway, and I pull all the tools out of the toolbox to make sure that we get the job done. So I just wanted to share two of the strategies which do have a big impact. One is called the pattern interrupt. So we do things in patterns. That's how we live, because we develop habits. You know, that formation of the neurological pathways which come together. They say the neurons that fire together wire together. So in a pattern interrupt, we want to break that connection. We want to break those pathways up so we can establish new pathways. So the very first thing we did with this client, and I wanted to dig down, so I had to ask a lot of questions. I wanted to dig down to find out, how did the habit form? What is the pattern that they are in now? So when we did this, it was discovered that it was only that the habit revolved around Saturday morning from about 10 o'clock at the pub, gather with another bunch of fellow gamblers, and they just spend the day gambling on horses. And so when he asked me, he said, look, when will we do the first session? I said, you know what? We're going to do the session at 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning, because immediately we're breaking the pattern. We're changing what was being done to a new time frame. Or we couldn't do it in that, he couldn't gamble in that time frame, because the priority was getting the gambling, to stop doing something else instead of the gambling. So that very first thing, and he was committed to making this change. So we did right every Saturday morning. That's when we do the session. And one of the keys, I think, working with a client is being able to be flexible, so that you can work with their unconscious mind to create the change. So this is a very powerful start, pattern interrupt. And of course, by midday, it was too late to go down to the pub and gamble, because if you miss the start, why go? That was the belief system I was working with. So we utilised their current belief system to twist things around to work in the favour of changing the habit. So that pattern for a while together to make this change to become from a gambler to a non-gambler. So bear with me. One of these other powerful techniques, which I'll share here, is getting the unconscious mind to realise the consequences of the actions. Now, tell me, how many of us stop to think about the consequences of our actions? When something is being done, for many it's just the immediate gratification, that dopamine impulse, that just go bang, oh yeah, I got that hit. So we need to communicate to the deeper mind, that deeper part of you, that there are consequences. So while in the hypnotic state, which works better than imagination is great, but it's the vividness of the imagination that's really powerful. and that is quite often easier to do in the hypnotic state. You go down a pathway many, many years, gradually checking on what's happening as they feel like they are living in the worsening of circumstances due to whatever the addictive behaviour is, whether it's gambling, shopping, alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, whatever, until they get to the point where they're actually dying from this addictive behaviour and then going out to the other side, seeing their own funeral, feeling it, experiencing it. Like, we're doing some pretty graphic stuff here, and the idea of this is to impress upon the unconscious mind this is going to lead to some negative consequences. And when we're communicating with the unconscious mind, it's about symbols and emotions to impress upon the unconscious mind, hey, this is not what you wanted. The result is not what you wanted. You wanted a different result from this behaviour. So then we come back and then we relive life in a positive behaviour. When that's done in the hypnotic state, or it's done in a way that impresses upon the unconscious mind, the difference between the down road and the up road, if you like that, really has a very solid impact. And then, of course, if that's repeated, that keeps hitting hard on breaking and on creating a realization at a very deep level, not just at the logical level of the conscious mind, but very deep down in the unconscious mind. And then, of course, there's many other tools and techniques that I use to help clients, and this client in particular, helping to break free of the grip of that addictive behaviour, which was destroying family and his own health. Now, if that's the sort of thing that you'd be interested in learning more about for yourself or for a loved one, just send me a message here on this platform. Don't put anything in the comments, right? I don't want any inference. I just want to keep it confidential. Just send me a direct message and we'll just have a chat about how it could work for you or your loved one or a friend. Okay? You have a great night, and just remember, if you want to change behaviour, breaking the pattern, replacing it with something else, and then that deep realisation of the consequences. Message me and we'll talk about it further, because this could save your life, it could save a loved one's life, it could save a friend, it could save a family from destructive, addictive behaviour. It's very important. Get in touch.